Good evening, everybody. Here we are. Here's Chris. Chris has been playing with his hair. He doesn't know whether his hair goes this way or that way.
Let's have a discussion on Facebook now, left or right. Make your mind up for me.
If you've got a suggestion for hair, mine's always this way, Chris.
Hashtag hair preference.
Yeah, hashtag Chris Stone's hair
preference.
So good evening, guys. Literally, right, this is how it works tonight. You've got me here, you've got Chris here. Super informal. We're going to talk about the industry in a super honest way, talk about showreels in a super honest way. We're going to be showing you 3 showreels that have been submitted. We're going to be discussing them in a super honest way. You've got to be open in this industry without a doubt to constructive criticism and feedback. And for me this year, it was something that I actually decided I was going to actively go and seek from people and go, you know what, is there anything that you think I'm doing wrong in my career, in my business, in my life, ultimately? And I think it's really, really valuable. So we're going to be giving constructive feedback tonight. No one's reel that is going to be talked about tonight either. On this one, there's not there's no critical one, is there?
No, they're all pretty good. It's just minor surgery, really.
Yeah, this is minor showreel surgery.
But simple stuff. But you might not be able to see it yourself, so we're going to give you some kind of insider filmmaker.
Oh, there is some cool stuff.
There's some proper stuff we have never covered before. Yeah. Very filmmakery stuff.
Yeah.
Some subtle changes you can make to your reel.
Chris said to me before when we were watching one of the reels we're showing tonight, what's wrong in this scene? And I was like, as an actor, I'm looking at him going, I can't spot it. As a filmmaker, he's like, this is how we fix it very easily. So the person whose reel that is referring to, you're going to be able to fix the problem. We don't just give people as in these are all the problems, you go and deal with it yourself.
We give you solutions.
Yeah, we give you solutions as
Always
well.
Give you solutions.
Sandra is here. Sandra, good evening or good afternoon. Sandra's in New York, I think, so great that you've joined us. John says you're looking good, Chris, and he wants
John.
your hair in the centre. And Sandy, thank you so much, man. You've shared it. So I'm going to throw up some slides for you guys now. And just explain really kind of how tonight's going to work. If you've been on Showreel Surgery episode 1 or 2, it's a pretty similar format, but we like to mix it up a bit, and we're going to share some super, I don't know, kind of cutting edge kind of stuff right now that I don't think many actors are.
It's brand new.
Yeah, that are doing it with their reels and stuff like that, and how they're sharing them out and getting them out there. So you're already going to be part of this group, guys. But for anyone who's watching this video anywhere else that isn't the Acts on This Facebook group, okay, you might be watching the Acts on This page, and that's great. It's lovely that you've liked the page, but come and be part of the group. It's where there's over 4,100 actors in there right now. Super supportive group, the most motivated, kind of inspired group of actors I've ever met. We don't have any negativity in the group. There's no bitterness, no bitching, no whinging. If I see any posts like that, they just instantly get deleted. I've got no time for that whatsoever. And luckily, we just never have that. It's just a super supportive group of people. Mary, good evening. Is this going to be on repeat? She says, Mary, I can't promise you. I honestly can't tell you either way. If the recording on Facebook works, yes. If not, no. This is if you miss it. If you're not here, you just miss it. So if you're not in the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/ActsOnThisTV, leave your questions and comments under the live stream in this group, and I can see people doing that already. Obviously, that's how I'm answering the questions that have already come up. This is how tonight works. Chris is going to choose and has chosen 3 reels that have been submitted via Facebook and Twitter. We do this regularly, all right, so keep an eye out on our Twitter feeds, which is at ActOnThisTV and at Chris Stone Films, and we will ask about 2 or 3 days before we do these events, and we do this once every 2 months, Chris, 3 months?
2 months, yeah.
Probably every couple of months. Keep an eye out, and we ask people to submit their showreel to us via Twitter. You tweet at ActOnThisTV, at Chris Stone Films, and then you use the hashtag ShowreelSurgery. So it makes it really easy for us to search. If you use the hashtag, some people this time didn't use the hashtag. It's hard to find your showreel if you don't use the hashtag, because we can just search for Showreel Surgery, a couple of hours before, and then we see every reel that's been submitted. So the ones that have been chosen tonight use that hashtag. So congratulations to you for actually following the guidelines. Chris is going to diagnose each reel as either critical. There ain't any critical ones tonight. Must be kept under observation. There's definitely that tonight. And in good health, okay, and there's definitely that tonight, all right? He's then going to prescribe the best medicine that he can to get each reel back to fighting fit, because he is, as I coin him, the showreel doctor. He's literally, guys, I feel, big ego here for you, Chris, but I feel this guy is like the premier showreel producer in the UK, if not just wherever, you know.
Wow, my ego is inflated.
His head is so big.
So big, can't fit in here anymore, Ross.
He's going to have to leave. But he knows his shit, guys. There's a difference. Someone said to me once, there's a difference between knowing your shit and knowing you are shit. So Chris knows
Which one am I?
Well, you know your shit, but as in you're not shit.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very good.
So Chris does know what he's talking about, basically, guys. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. But first, to begin with, we're going to come back on camera because we have a little discussion at the start of these of just what's going on in the industry right now when it comes to showreels. And Chris, because how many showreels do you produce a week?
Oh, God. Scenes between 3 and 8.
Wow.
5 last week. Actual reels that I cut. Up to about 10, 15 a week. So I was cut one cut a couple this morning before I came over to see you. So yeah, it's constantly.
So
all the time.
He's cutting a lot of stuff all the time, and then sometimes the same themes come up when he's working with actors. Sometimes new stuff comes up, and he'll often ring me. Sometimes to have a little whinge.
I don't have a whinge. I give constructive feedback. Because Ross, you work with actors all the time.
Yeah.
So we can. Chat.
There's only so many times you can tell somebody the same thing over and over again before you just get slightly exasperated, and you're like, really, am I having to tell you the same thing again? You're telling me this
is
problem.
One of the reasons why we set up this ShowreelSurgery is so you guys can have this feedback. Me and Ross have been talking about this for years, but so you can actually hear this feedback and you can implement it into your acting career, into your showreels. It's all simple stuff.
Absolutely. So we wrote a little list down before. Give us some of the things that have been happening this month.
Talking about, you've literally set off a new one because you were talking about feedback before, and it's actors being able to take constructive feedback, which has been a big thing over the last couple of weeks. So I gave an actor some constructive feedback on Twitter the other day, genuine feedback on how to fix his reel. And his reel started off with 16 seconds at the back of his head. That's it, the 16 seconds, not talking, not anything.
I've seen it, yeah.
I sent it to you. Send out a nice tweet going, you might want to have a look at this. This is honest, constructive feedback. You want to get this sorted. Got a tweet going, thanks. Next day, unfollow me. You go, thanks very much for that. I was just trying to help you in your career.
I want to get your microphone a bit more on the screen.
There you go.
Because I feel I want to get you more in the frame.
Let's go here. No, that's too close. Too close. All right, here we go.
But
it's been able to take constructive feedback and listen to people that know what they're talking about for the best sort of advice. So I had one actress recently I was cutting the reel for, and I'd cut her the best possible reel. I think I spent about 6 hours going through every different combination of clips, what order, what length, and she came back and wanted to change it. It's fair enough, you're the client, you can have whatever you want, but I explained to her I'd already gone through all this, and she'd even said, look, I'm not an expert in this. And it was almost a fight, but not quite. It was slightly exasperating going, look, trust me on this. This is the reason why X, Y, and Z works. This is why this one has to be first. It's a matter of letting go and letting somebody who's very objective about your footage and who knows what they're doing, let them do their job, when actors can be really subjective and want to hold on to certain clips because they felt a certain way when they were shooting it, but that might not translate to the audience watching it. You've got to be completely objective. So listen to feedback from people who know what they're talking about.
Experts are experts for a reason.
Listen, yeah.
It's like walking on set as an actor and then try to be a director and a producer and a DOP as well. It's like kind of do your job as an actor and let the people who are experts in their field do their jobs. Mm-hmm. So that's number one.
That's number one.
What else has come up this month?
What else has come up this month? Playing to your type. So we were discussing this with Michael on one of the Act on This broadcasts.
So Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
From Beverly Keogh Casting. Yeah, he was saying, to quote him, he said, we employ you for who you are, not who you can be. And he meant that in terms of when an actor has self-awareness and realizes exactly who they are and the roles that they would be. And he wants you to bring you to the role, not the, kind of like the role, like becoming you. He wants to see what you can bring to the role as Ross, as Chris, as whoever, as opposed to almost transforming necessarily into something that you're just not, or portraying something that you're really not. For me, that would be like me going, right, I'm going to go and do, I would, love to play like a bad boy scally type thing. My self-awareness is like, I know I'm not that. I will always be authority figures, cops, lawyers, professionals, that kind of stuff. For me, playing a drug addict scrote, I mean, you know what? At a very, very push, given 6 months to really research the role, I could probably do it. But in terms of me going for an audition for that tomorrow, there's just a million other people out there who are going to be better at that than I am.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's knowing, for my show reel, what I want to portray myself as, so that people employ me for who I am, not who I can be.
Yeah, it's basically playing different versions of yourself, a happy version of yourself, an angry version. Everyone can be angry, everyone can be happy. It's playing different aspects of that personality and not going so opposite that it's almost unrecognizable. It's kind of pointless doing that, going the complete opposite way. If you're typecast, if your casting type is a villain, you can play a really good villain. Going the opposite direction and trying to play the leading man, funny hero sort of character probably is not the best. Yeah, I know you might want to play this. I think there's a whole debate between what you can play and what you would like to play. I think that's a huge thing.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
It's kind of playing that, I want to play this, but actually you'd be much better and you'd probably get loads of jobs playing this. So it's learn what you can play. You learn your casting type and be objective about it. Again, it's being completely objective about what you can play.
Yeah, there's an actor I know who's lovely, lovely man. It's the most warm, like, cuddly guy. He's obsessed with playing a bad villain. And I'm like, you know what? If you focused on your strengths as the lovely, warm man, you could get employed for that all the time, as opposed to trying to do something that's so opposite to you on your show reel to prove you can act. I know why people want to do it. It's like, look, I can be this. And we're not saying you can't be it, but we're saying to show people actually what you are generally, at least to begin with, until you're established.
Or at least do a few clips beforehand of your casting type and then do one.
And then
opposite,
surprise someone with something
with
completely
a tiny
different.
Little bit. Well, on yours, you've got that tiny little bit of darkness in there on your reel. Usually the happy-go-lucky authority sort of figure, kind of smiley.
Yeah.
You can play that little bit of darkness, so you can do that. Maybe do one, but I wouldn't do an entire reel. Or if you're doing one scene, make it the opposite to what your cast type is, because that doesn't quite work.
Open with you, I think, is good.
Be as natural as possible.
Stephen says...
What does Stephen say?
He says, that's me, I'm the bad boy Scally. Yes, you are, Steve. If Shameless, I said this on that clip you put up in the Facebook group the other day, Shameless existed today, mate, you'll be in there straight away. You know what? And that's like self-awareness, going, you know what? Yes, I am a bit of a rougher casting type, and it's not, that's not, and sometimes people will be like afraid to tell you that, or like go, oh, is this offensive? It's not fucking offensive. It's what you can earn a shitload of money out of doing, enjoying, and actually being employed as an actor. So it's very useful to know that. And yes, you are definitely the rougher, kind of mank lad who could be anything from kind of like, the gang kind of gangster kind of, well, not gang, I don't mean gangster as in like just the gang member. Equally, you've got quite like a bit of a victim status about you sometimes in your work. So like you could play the guy in that clip who is bullied into doing stuff he doesn't really want to do. He wants to come clean from this life of crime and gets bullied into it one more time. You play that great. Some kind of reformed Scally, all that kind of stuff. Whereas if we go, okay, Stephen, you're going to play a barrister, it's going to be like, bullshit, you're not going to play a barrister. So don't, just to prove you can play a barrister, don't put that on the front of your show reel, because you ain't going to get employed for that normally. Let's put the Scally stuff up and get you as much work as that as possible, because that's what's going to pay your rent and pay your mortgage.
Oh, one other thing. Accents. Do natural accent. The first clip on your show reel needs to be your natural accent so they can know what you sound like straight away. If you're doing any scenes with accents in, put them a little bit further back. Have a couple at the beginning, natural accent, so we can actually just hear what your natural voice is.
So I've got a Cockney. I did a comedy with Peter Kay called Cradle to Grave, and I did a proper Cockney accent like that. If I'd have opened with that scene, they would go, and a casting director only has one, like 10 seconds to watch my reel or something, and I open with that scene, you go, oh, he's a Cockney, we need a mank. Well, actually, I'm mank. So I've just done myself out of a job there by putting that up front and centre.
That's true. Get the clip that's closest to you up first. That's the key thing there.
Joe says, accent, great advice. Julian's here. Hello, Julian. Good evening.
Hello,
He says,
Julian.
I found I was getting mainly villain gangster roles, which was great, but really wanted to show my comedic side, so really pushed in that direction. It worked and gave me my show reel some range, I think. Yeah, so contrasting stuff, but if you open with what your strengths, if you're constantly getting employed as that gangster and villain, Julian, that's a clue. It's going, that's what people see you as. Yep. And then you go, well, actually, I need to take that on as and self-awareness for myself. People see me as this. That's obviously how I'm coming across. You want to contrast stuff. absolutely. Put your comedic stuff, after a really violent scene or something, and suddenly go, oh, this guy's got range. It's a very different thing between range and just delusional
doing
kind
the opposite for the sake of it. For fantasy, it's like going in the complete opposite direction.
It's no, absolutely.
And you can play villain with comedy as well, so you could mix it up a little bit there. Because they kind of go hand in hand, really. You can play villain. I did one for Warren Palmer. Is Warren in tonight?
It's not in tonight. Yeah, as of yet.
Warren
Palmer.
Might be in. So I did a scene for Warren where he played a villain where he kidnapped his lawyer and he's confessing that he'd murdered a guy, and it was such a funny but dark scene. So you can kind of combine these traits together.
Yeah, definitely. Sid says, how about those actors who are versatile? So what we're saying, Sid, is not that we're not showing versatility. It's showing stuff. It's not showing stuff for the sake of it. That you want to be, as opposed to what you are.
It's more like going the complete opposites. You can show versatility, but it's going the complete opposites. I wouldn't recommend.
Unless you're just incredible at it. You know what? There might be someone who's absolutely incredible and can do everything. But from experience, without sounding harsh, what we're seeing is people who can't do everything try and do everything. And I see this in the voiceover industry a lot as well. I work almost daily as a voiceover artist, and I see people create voiceover reels, and they try and put 15 accents in within 10 seconds of somebody listening to their reel. One, it confuses the hell out of the client who's potentially looking to employ them because they don't know what they are. The other thing is they can only do 14 of those accents I wouldn't even say semi-well. They're doing a shit job of those accents. If you're doing an incredible job of all 15 accents, then fair play. But what I'm seeing just in real life is that this isn't happening. So it's from experience that we're kind of, we're saying this. A lot of actors want to be things because they're just not self-aware that actually that's not how the world sees them or probably what they're going to be employed for. And when you have that self-awareness, it's so powerful because you know what you're going to be seen for, and then you can target those particular casting directors who cast that stuff. If you're just a serious dramatic actor and your comedy isn't your thing, it's not a lot of point in kind of necessarily sending your stuff to Janet Hampson or Nikki Bly or Tracy Gillam or the comedy casting directors. You're just wasting your time. You want to be approaching people like Beverly Keogh or Kelly and Victor, people Andy Pryor, people who do serious drama. It's self-awareness and industry awareness, really, of where you fit in and what your niche is. It's like, that's it. It's like everything. So that's good. Anything else? And then we'll start with the first reel.
Theatre scripts don't necessarily make the best showreel pieces because they are designed to be theatrical and designed to be big and on stage. And with theatre, they're usually quite exposition-y and explaining what's going on. So they don't necessarily lend themselves particularly well to film. So if you're thinking about doing a showreel scene, I wouldn't advise theatrical pieces. Yeah. If I'm a person myself, do you agree?
And particularly a theatrical monologue. I just think it's utterly pointless and turns TV casting directors off like this. I did a survey, guys, 2 years ago now, and I asked every single casting director in the industry, all the big players, because I've interviewed most of them over on actsonthis.tv, and I asked them two questions. Do you like montages at the start of showreels? I think the actual statistics were 99.5% said no. Daniel Edwards was the only guy who said he didn't mind a montage because he's a massive music fan. The other thing was monologues, and again, all the telecasting actors were like, no, it's pointless. I need to see you listening and reacting because that's like the majority of acting, particularly when you're starting off, when you're not going to have all the dialogue in scenes. You're going to come in and take orders from somebody, or you have to listen to a lead who's speaking to you. If you're just doing a monologue, people can't see you really listening, and that's ultimately what acting is.
Yeah, it's reacting. It's the bread and butter of film and TV is two people talking in a room. That's essentially it. I've done quite a few monologues for actors, but they've kind of been to get them jobs on theatre. Yeah. So I've done Shakespeare pieces, but they were all to get them jobs on stage. So I'm not saying definitely no to monologues, but kind of don't do them as your first piece.
Yeah.
Definitely have two people talking in a room, reacting backwards and forwards. That's what it's all about. That's film and TV.
Yeah. If it's a monologue where you're talking to somebody else in terms of you just got a huge chunk of dialogue within a scene, that's fine. But to do a monologue to camera or something like that, I just think is, from a telly perspective, is just poor form and shows a lack of awareness, again, of what people are actually after. So don't do that. Caroline says, good evening, guys. Says double yoker this evening. Double yoke, me and you, Chris. Oh, yeah. And Steve says acting is reacting. Sid says gotcha, so he understands the thing about the versatility
Steve
stuff before.
Steve says play to your strengths until you settled in. That's exactly right.
Yeah. When you are David Tennant or John Sim.
Or Robin Williams. Remember Robin Williams, comedian, and then he played.
He was
Insomnia, wasn't
he
it?
wanted to prove himself. Yeah.
What was the other one he did? He played a brilliant villain, but he got established first in the industry and then kind of went the opposite.
Yeah, it's interesting. Right, so we're going to show you the first reel, guys. Now, what we're going to do on this reel is most of them we just play out and you can watch them, and we don't speak over them. We just want people to enjoy them, and then Chris will dissect them and do his surgery on them afterwards. This one, the first one up, has that technical thing we spoke about a minute ago. So we are going to jump in at one point and just not tell you what it is, but just say, look at this scene and look for what is technically wrong. I don't think 99% of people are going to spot it. I couldn't.
Well, we'll actually put it out and see if people can spot it.
He spotted it straight away. So we're going to tell you what scene it's in. We'll jump on the microphone and tell you, but we won't tell you what it is. And then afterwards, when the reel is finished, we'll jump back in and Chris will explain exactly
tweet the person
what's going on. So tell us, Chris, who's the first person you've chosen?
Sean Francis.
Sean Francis, and I know Sean is here because I saw her make a comment before, I think. Sean, just give us a comment to let us know you're here, because your reel has been chosen by Christoph. We're going to play it out now for the world. Yep, Sean Francis, actress, so she can hear us loud and clear.
I can't tweet you because it's not saved in my drafts.
Oh, right. Chris,
Chris but you're already here. I drafted out everybody's, but it's not saved.
It's not saved, his drafts.
Oh, well.
But Sean, you're
Sean's
here. This is Sean Francis.
Let's go.
And yeah, we'll point out that little technical issue. That's easily fixed, Sean. Don't worry about it. But here you go. Enjoy.
Enough good people have died already. I won't help kill another. I want you to know what you tried to do was very honourable. But if Germany's going to admit it's wrong, then it will need people like you.
Dieter Fried committed suicide the day before the camp was liberated by the Americans. The lack of diary entries after that day. The eyewitness reports by the officers and some of the prisoners. Fried is dead! No!
Put that down! Who are you? Do you speak English?
Okay, guys, so this is the scene where there is something technically wrong. See if you can spot it, all right?
How did you get here?
Your care workers have been coming in and doing everything as they normally would?
Yes.
Good. And are be coming in regularly to specifically look at your reablement progress, to help with things like washing and dressing, and to get you back to where you were before your hospital treatment.
Reablement. Is that all about getting people out of hospital quicker?
Not exactly, no. It's about promoting goals around independence.
But we promote independence with home care.
Yes, you do. But it's different. When I was in home care, I used to work with a man who'd had a stroke.
So there you go. That is Sean's reel. Chris, give us some feedback. First of all, did anybody spot?
Well, should we give them a minute or so to see if they can spot?
Oh, okay, yes, yeah.
So I'll move on to some other stuff. See if you guys can spot the technicality.
Yeah, you type up if you spotted the technicality. Chris will start off with other stuff, Sean, that we think we can get your reel much snappier, more impactful, and much more effective for you with some very simple things that Chris is now going to explain.
Okay, so you kind of double starts. You've got your name, and then you've got your headshot and all your details. I would literally just start it with your headshot and your name.